Let's now speak to the acting police minister, Firoz Cachalia. The president, Ramaphosa, during the State of the Nation address, confirming that there will be a deployment of the South African National Defence Force. Initially, he announced the provinces of the Western Cape and Gauteng, and subsequently, that deployment will be extended to the Eastern Cape as well. The acting police minister then saying that deployment will happen within 10 days at a time, he was reported. Minister, that 10 days is coming to an end sometime this week, is it not? Good morning.
Good morning to you and your listeners. Yes, I indicated having discussed the matter with the National Commissioner, who of course is planning the whole operation together with the head of the army, the SANDF, indicated to me for the purpose of the announcement in Parliament that it should take 10 days, around the 1st of March. Some deployment has already started in parts of the country.
Are you able to share any details as to which parts and what is expected of that deployment?
No, not really. I'm not really going to be discussing details of the deployment in public. I don't think that would be correct. So, but I can confirm that the deployment will take place, that the army will be deployed in areas affected by gang violence and illegal mining across the country as needed, in a support role to the police. The police have the primary responsibility to deal with policing matter, criminality, but the army will be there in a supporting role.
And I think that's, I suppose, a point to underscore. The deployment of the army will enable police to be more effective in the work that they intend to do. In your conversations with the National Commissioner, what are you intending to achieve while you are enjoying the support of the National Defence Force?
Well, I think we've got to bring some order and an end to the killings. The gangs have been running rampant. And as you all know, there've been a lot of people have lost their lives. So we had to take this step. In the meantime, I think it's very important for the police to develop the capabilities that are necessary to fight the gangs more effectively, like understanding through intelligence how the gangs are functioning and so forth. So the police have the primary responsibility. I also think that we've got to understand that in our communities, the main issue in a way is development, a lack of opportunity particularly for young people. So I'm hoping that all levels of government, including, for instance, the provincial and local authorities, can intensify their efforts to address their underlying socioeconomic issues. And then I'm also hoping that the community itself can assume responsibility together with the police to lead communities, to organize communities, to assume some agency, because I think community involvement is also going to be critical.
You've raised some concerns around the capacity for South African police services to conduct investigations. We know we have a very low number of investigators employed within the SAPS, given the level of crimes that you, for example, as late as last week Friday, reporting with the quarterly stats for quarter 3 ending December 2025. And there are community members who have experienced a deployment of the SANDF some time ago who said in the first month of deployment, there was a displacement of the crime in those areas, if you like, a cessation of crime. They started seeing criminal elements returning, and the minute the deployment came to an end, the crime exponentially grew. And part of that, I suppose, is placed squarely on the SAPS not being able to use the opportunity to effectively investigate and bring to book those criminals, and more importantly, design systems that will mitigate against any further criminal elements. How do you respond to those community members who are not as excited about the deployment of the Defence Force here in the Cape?
No, it's perfectly understandable. We have had experiences of deployments in the past. It's not a magic bullet. And as I've indicated, I think the police have the primary responsibility. But I also think that this is not just an issue of law enforcement. It's the underlying socioeconomic issues are what create the vulnerability in communities. For instance, when young people who are not employed are recruited by the gangs because they need income. And those are long-term issues that are difficult to overcome. I also want to make the point that I don't think that we are simply dealing with this long-enduring problem of gangs in the Western Cape, for instance. I think that the gangs have evolved, that organized crime is evolving. They are becoming a lot more sophisticated. They're accumulating wealth and power. They're diversifying their operations. And so this experience that we are undergoing, being experienced in many countries in the world now, with more open borders, with economic globalization and so forth, has also seen this exponential expansion of organized crime across the world. And so I think it's important to recognize that all countries, or many countries, are experiencing a developing, evolving phenomenon, and we now have to recognize this threat and develop the capabilities that are required. Even the most developed countries have had problems, for instance, of drug trafficking that have proved to be very difficult to bring to defeat. But we are, I think, if we make the right decisions and we recognize this problem, then we should put ourselves in a position to take the right steps to deal with this growing threat.
The Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Winde, in the State of the Province address on Wednesday, reflected that he's had numerous meetings with you where he requested your intervention to ensure proper resourcing and reforms within the SAPS, including changes to regulations to allow local law enforcement to investigate crimes, and he's calling for you to act now. Are you able to?
Look, I've had many discussions with the Premier. I think that it's very important for provincial and local governments to assume responsibility. The question has to be asked, why is it that the gang violence, which afflicts particular communities in the Western Cape, my responsibility is to strengthen the police service. And that's my role. I think the Premier, with respect, should carry out his responsibilities. I am not going to be drawn to discussions about devolution of policing powers, because I don't think that's the primary issue. So I'm very happy to work with the provincial and local authorities, but attacking the South African Police Service, deflecting responsibility is not the answer. I have made it very when I have gone. I'm addressing the issues of gang violence in the Western Cape. Since my appointment, I've been to many communities. I've taken strong action, including this action to deploy the army. And I think that the Premier and the Mayor should take responsibility for their to provide services in these communities, to take responsibility for within the competencies of the provincial government to address the development challenges of these communities. Because there is a question to be asked about why this intractable problem is occurring under their watch.
May I ask, though, Acting Minister, do you at least resonate with the statement and the comment that the budget allocated to policing services is not sufficient given the need for the National Police Commissioner to adequately staff not only Western Cape SAPS, but all provinces in the fight against the incredible amounts of crime we deal with on a daily basis?
So if we look at the budget that was announced a few days ago, there have been increased allocations over the last 2 years to policing. And in the last budget, the Minister of Finance announced further allocations. In a resource-constrained environment, when there are many competing priorities, there are resource constraints. Premier Winde's party is part of the government of national unity at national level. That's where the budget is adopted by cabinet acting as a collective. That cabinet includes ministers from the Democratic Alliance. All the parties represented in the GNU make collective decisions, and they should own them. So, the question is, does the DA support the budget? We need all departments, education, health, housing, infrastructure, need resources. The police need more resources than they currently have. But they also have to use those resources more efficiently. So I don't know if I don't think this is a very productive discussion. I think my responsibility as the Minister of Police is to work with the police service to strengthen their capabilities and to focus their efforts.
All right, we'll have to leave it there, Minister. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Police Minister Firoz Cachalia.